Well, if you want to know what I learned last week, you definitely came to the right place. Appreciate you being on my drive to work with me. Couple fun facts. The GoPro Hero Black 9 is a great camera because I can shoot these with voice dictation, so I can turn the camera on and off using my voice. So I'm not going to be looking at it because you got to stay safe. First and foremost, shout out to my man Glenn Lundy and the Rise and Grind crew. You guys are incredible, and this is one of the reasons why I started this series, was to impart a lot of the concepts that I've learned from people that are doing things at a much higher level than me to the people in my community, and then break them down on a weekly basis. So I typically shoot these every single Monday, put them out Monday night. This is a back and forth. I'd love to know what you think of these concepts. Feel free to jump in the comments below, put things that you want me to go find out. I have some incredible mentors and people around me, and I'm definitely somebody that is always on the search for knowledge. Last week, Glenn had a couple amazing speakers on. Tim Story, Les Brown, amongst many, many others. And some of the people that had the most impact don't necessarily have the most influence, which is what we covered last week. If you want to see that episode, head back over and go into that. But let's talk about the miracle mentality. So it was Tim Story's book that we really dove into in terms of how your mindset and how you're looking at the world definitely makes a huge difference. And I'll go back to the kingdom principles that I live by and what Glenn Lundy imparts and what Tim Story was talking about and how they affect me. So the first concept was around talent, opportunity, and desire. Let me repeat that. Talent, opportunity, and desire. For a very long time, I lived my life thinking that my talent, my opportunity, and my desires were formulated by the world. It wasn't until I really started listening to the big man upstairs that I realized that my talent, my opportunity, and my desires come from him. And when I'm trying to fulfill that in my life, things are just they just hit different. I don't know how else to better explain it than that, but I can be in a really bad situation and have a great sunny disposition because, my work is my ministry. And I think, being in difficult situations, having any type of tension in your life means that you're doing something of significance. It's not always going to be comfortable. Our production company got a big opportunity that we were working on over the weekend. Not necessarily something we've done before, but I've got access to incredible people around me. And the other thing I learned was people that do not have a scarcity mindset are the ones that find a lot of success. So reached out to a really good friend of mine that does something that fits this project just perfectly, and he was willing to jump on a call with my production team today to go over that. So super hyped to think about that. So again, the talent, the opportunity, and the desire, and how you're going to implement those things. Now, the other concept I wanted to impart was, as you're going forth with this mindset and you're trying to accomplish things, don't be afraid to observe, educate, and conversate around these things, right? Make sure that you have a really good tribe of people around you that do want the best for you, have similar mindsets and principles and ethics that you do, and bounce your ideas off them, and don't be afraid to smash those limiting beliefs. You can look at somebody that's way ahead of the game or somewhere you want to be and think there's no way I can be that person. God has made you beautifully and wonderfully made, and if anybody's done it before you, let that be an inspiration. I am not the smartest guy in the room, but I will show up consistently every single week and every single day to do the things that I want to accomplish. And I'm also not a guy that's going to get my ego all tied up in it and afraid to change my actions or my ambitions based on one of those two things, right? Your actions typically have to track to your ambitions, but if you're not doing the actions, then maybe your ambitions are inaccurate. The last piece of the puzzle that I really wanted to break down of what I learned last week that is actually impacting me today is, storytellers. So we were speaking in depth about how really good storytellers are not afraid to tell bad stories. They're not afraid to share their internal concepts, and they're not afraid to modify their message for their audience. I think about that quite often, right? Because I'm a storyteller. I'm in sales and marketing, happens to be through the lens of a real estate agent. But one reason we started the brokerage, the production company, now the agency, was because I may storytell through the lens of real estate, but it applies to everything. Our brand consultation group is doing a consultation this morning at 11:30 with somebody in the fitness space, consulting around the sales and marketing of their space and what the opportunities are over and beyond what they're doing today. I love storytelling because it's iterations, trying things, and then changing it. So case in point, I do property videos. You may like them, you may not like them, that's okay. But if you look at the evolution of those property videos, they've gone from me just being a tour guide, showcasing you the house and everything you can find on MLS, to me giving information you just can't get anywhere else, right? Because the role of a real estate agent is changing giving you sold data, telling you what the house is priced at, how many bedrooms and bathrooms. Like, you can train a robot to do that, and there are tech companies that are trying to replace agents that are trained to do that. What they can't tell you is what type of development's happening in the area. You know, they're not tied into the commercial developers, the land acquisitions, the municipalities. They're not going to the public meetings. You know, they're not belly to belly with the coffee shop owners. They don't have a care for the community other than just the tech side of things, which is great because it provides consumers more tools. But to me, those tech companies empower me to do my job better because my storytelling is those intangibles. I had a guy troll me on one of my YouTube videos saying, you know, I showed 35 seconds of the interior of the home and then I talked for 2 minutes. But when I went back to that video, you know, I was conscious of the feedback. I thought, okay, how could I be better at this? And I'm gonna modify maybe my next 2 property tour videos, but I also realized the demographic of the person who made that comment was a 14-year-old kid that's not gonna be buying this beautiful lakefront property in Grand Bend. And the information that I was given in those 2 minutes were about the beach, the shoreline erosion, and how this is well situated, you know, how close the public beaches are to this property. A lot of things that anybody that's actually buying that house is gonna care about. So listen to your audience. Don't be scared to modify how you're doing things to suit that audience, but at the same time, don't let them dictate your message because it may be what they want, but if that message isn't intended for them, maybe you don't necessarily need to take every single piece of advice that they give you, but be open to it. And actually, I'll give you one more bonus thing that we did talk about. It's not real estate related, but I think it's important to anybody watching, and it's parenting. So know your role, guide, guard, and govern your children and your family. I think those 3 concepts, I could talk for an hour about them, but I am thinking about it very much this week, how I'm guiding my family, how I'm guarding them, and how I'm governing them. So hopefully you got some value from this episode. I just like shooting these videos because it helps me reiterate what I learned last week, think about it moving forward this week. I journal it, put it in my notepad, and hopefully can live up to fill the shoes that is everything I just described. And I'm not perfect. You know, I'm gonna make mistakes, and you know, I may only hit 60 or 70% of it, but it's better than if I didn't do it at all, right? Hopefully you got some value from this. If you did, like, subscribe, drop a comment, and let me know who you are, where you're from. I want to build a pretty amazing community of people, and I want to interact on your channels, support what you're doing. Thanks as always. I'll see you guys out in the wild.